Welcome to Module 2. I hope your discussion from Module 1 was fruitful and that you are excited to dive into the UbD Template version 2.0. On my screen, I have displayed version 2.0 of the template, and I would like to quickly walk through each portion to ensure understanding in what it means and how it can be utilized. As you can see, all three stages of backwards design are represented on the template. Stage 1, beginning of stage 1, the first portion is to focus on this idea of transfer, which I ask us to identify those situations or contexts outside of the specific AF&R course, classroom, or laboratory in which we would like to see students apply the understandings that they take away from the lesson or unit being designed. Think to yourself, what am I hoping to prepare students for after their time in this course or lesson is complete? Okay, now in addition to transferring knowledge, we also see in stage 1 the understandings and essential questions portion. As you work through those portions, just remember the complexity of understanding is something more than simply knowing, meaning it's more than just facts, figures, or statements of truth, but rather it's a concept that can be applied in multiple situations or in new scenarios for the student. Also remember that essential questions function in a very similar way, meaning that they should not be simple, direct questions, but rather questions that challenge students to think about concepts and to be pondering them even after the conclusion of the lesson. Students should certainly be more prepared in answering or thinking through the question after completing the lesson, but they may still have some curiosities that enable them to continue to develop their thoughts on the essential questions after learning is completed in your classroom. Now, once understandings are established, we can break those down into specific pieces of knowledge and skills, and this is this acquisition component here. After that, it can be helpful to write the specific objectives or learning goals that align to those knowledge and skills. This can be done on the left side of the template in stage 1, as you can see on your screen over here, established goals. Okay, moving on to stage 2. This is less complex than stage 1. Begin by citing the specific evidence you will allow in the form of a student performance task. So taking those knowledge and skills, what evidence do you need to know that they've gained those knowledge and skills? Ask yourself, what do students need to show me in this lesson? In the other evidence portion, as you can see on your screen, document any ulterior pieces of evidence that would be appropriate for the lesson. There may be items you wish to measure or items that can serve as evidence of progress instead of mastery. For example, in the far left box, as you're ready, cite the specific ways you want to measure each piece of evidence. This might be a good place to cite a specific rubric, scale, or evaluation mechanism using your program. This left side, evaluative criteria, think this is how I'm going to grade a student. This is how I'm going to say pass, fail, A, B, C, D, meets, exceeds, however you would like to grade students. That is your opportunity to say how you're going to measure the evidence that you said meets the specific knowledge and skills that you have identified. Now, this is going to vary by school teacher and perhaps even by subject based on the needs of that particular program or course. The bottom portion of the template, as you can see, is reserved for stage 3, the learning plan. I want you to note that this stage is the least structured. And I think this is because it needs to be adaptable to the particular teacher, to the lesson, to your style of planning and teaching. So make notes, plans, outlines, timelines, however you want to make your instructional plan, do so in this space as you feel appropriate. Now that you're familiar with the template, you are ready to tackle activity 2.1, design examples. In this activity, you'll actually be reviewing 2 provided instructional plans and assess them based on this template. Just very quickly, here's what this activity looks like. Activity 2.1, examples of design. The directions are here, just as I said. First, you're going to go through the template with the descriptions, as we just did. Then you're going to move on to table 1 and table 2, which are actually 2 examples of instructional design that you're going to use the template to somewhat assess and determine what's good, what's bad, what's missing, and what is there. So I'll scroll down just quick so you can see those. So here's example A. It's a quick lesson on agricultural project planning. The details you have available are provided for you on the screen here, and then you'll have access to table 1 where you can kind of fill in what you have based on what's provided. Design example B is a short lesson on plant propagation, similar thing. Information about the lesson is provided, and then a blank template, if you will, is provided for you to try and complete as many portions as you can based on the information provided. That being said, this activity is a little bit counterintuitive, meaning that we're taking an existing lesson and trying to use the template as a form of assessment to say, has it been designed with UbD in mind? What are the missing components? Maybe how can this be improved based on the UbD template? So use this as you will. It may not be perfect. Some things may be confusing, but essentially just want you to use this template, become familiar with it via these 2 example lessons. Ask yourself, was this planned through understanding by design? Was it not? Was it planned using this template? Was it not? If it wasn't, what components were missing or maybe could have been improved in the planning process? So that's the video. Have a good time in this particular activity, and I will see you in the next module.